everyone! If you're looking for something last minute to complete your competencies for this year, or you're starting on your goals for next year's continuing competency plan, these books have a lot to offer. I think they all have relevance to dietetic practice, and I will walk you through what dietetic competencies can be enhanced through reading these books. I also have created some critical reflective questions that you can ask yourself after you finish the book, which will prompt you to reflect on what you've learned. The first book that I recommend is The Certainty Illusion by Timothy Caulfield. Timothy Caulfield is a researcher and professor of law at the University of Alberta. This is the first of his books that I've read, and it was just released in January 2025. I have noticed the increasing divide of opinions and divide of understanding of scientific topics, including nutrition, within spaces online and with people I know personally. I read this book because I wanted to further understand where that confusion and disinformation was coming from. I found this book to be very enlightening on that topic. Timothy Caulfield also includes some nutrition topics as examples, such as organic foods and GMOs, which makes this book all that more relevant for dietetics. I think everyone should read this book, and that includes dietitians. The practice competencies that could be improved upon with this book are practice competency number 1, food and nutrition expertise, performance indicator 1.05, apply understanding of dietary practices. Letter B, demonstrate understanding of behavioral theories relevant to food choice and eating. And practice competency number 2, professionalism and ethics, performance indicators 2.09, employ an evidence-informed approach to practice, and A, demonstrate knowledge of factors that inform decision-making, B, demonstrate knowledge of the process of evidence-informed decision-making. The second book that I recommend is Queering Nutrition and Dietetics, LGBTQ+ Reflections on Food Through Art. This book is a collection of essays, stories, and other artworks such as photography and sculpture. I found this book last summer when I was working on my master's degree and enrolled in a course called Queer Pedagogy. The idea of presenting information in the form of art to science-based dietitians is in itself queer, and that's one of the things I love about it. This book is unlike any other dietetic book I've ever seen. The collection includes submissions from LGBTQ+ community members, some dietitians, some not. The book is edited by Philip Joy and Megan Aston. Philip Joy is a dietitian and researcher at Mount St. Vincent in Nova Scotia. Megan Aston is a professor of the School of Nursing in Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia. Since this is a collection of shorter pieces, I wanted to pick out my favorites for you, in case you don't have time to read the whole book. If you have time, read the whole book. It is worth it. If not, I've picked the 6 pieces that I thought were the most beneficial to my dietetic practice, though I'm sure others would pick differently. I think there's a strong chance that different stories or different art pieces will resonate with others differently than they did for me. After all, we all approach art with our own background and experiences. My personal top 6 pieces from the book are The Unbearable Straightness of Intuitive Eating by Maxie Castle and Lucy Aframore, How Sociocultural Structures Shape Body Image and Dietary Practices Among Gay, Bisexual, and Queer Men's Communities by Adam Davies, Dahlia L. Corey, Nathan Lachowski, David Brennan, and Ben Clausen, The Impact of the Outsider's Gaze and Societal Norms Around Food and Bodies on Queer Individuals by Aloe Greening, Turning Over a New Leaf, Undercovering Gay Identities Alongside a Vegan Journey by Julia Russell, Being Trans in Dietetics, A Step in the Movement Towards Trans and Queer Liberation Through Collaborative Conversation by Catherine Fraser, Nat Quathammer, and Maren Webby, and Going from Invisible to Visible, Challenging the Normal Ranges, Cutoffs, and Labels Used to Describe the Sizes and Shapes of Transgender and Gender Diverse Bodies by Whitney Lissenmeyer and Mellet Coffey. I would hope that if you just read these 6 that you will have learned something valuable. Finally, the third book I recommend is A Drum in One Hand, A Sockeye in the Other by Charlotte Cote. Charlotte Cote is a professor and researcher at the University of Washington and was born and raised in British Columbia as a member of the Tayshat. This book focuses on the food beliefs, attitudes, and actions of her people. She shares a lot about traditional foods such as wild blackberries, salmon, and whale, and the importance of having opportunity to continue to eat these foods. She shares about the impact of residential schools on her community and the movement to heal both the people and the land from the lasting trauma. The practice competencies that I think are relevant for this book are practice competency number 1, food and nutrition expertise, performance indicator 1.07, integrate population health promotion principles and practices. Letter A, demonstrate understanding of determinants of health, health equity, and social justice. Performance indicator 1.08, integrate quantity food provision principles and practices. Demonstrate an understanding of food provision strategies that foster health in individuals, communities, and populations. And letter B, demonstrate understanding of strategies that support sustainable food provision. Practice competency number 2, professionalism and ethics. Performance indicator 2.01, practice within the context of Canadian diversity. Letter A, demonstrate knowledge of the diversity within the Canadian society. Letter D, identify structures that impact health equity and social justice. Performance indicator 2.03, practice in a manner that promotes cultural safety. Letter C, demonstrate awareness of Indigenous values and ways of knowing related to health and wellness. D, demonstrate awareness of ongoing impact of colonization, residential schools, intergenerational trauma, and systemic racism on Indigenous peoples in Canada. And E, act with awareness of how one's own biases, beliefs, behaviors, power, and privilege may affect others. In addition to reading these books and sharing the relevant practice competencies, I have created some critical reflective questions for each book. Your answers to these questions are how these books improve your dietetic practice. I recommend coming back to this section of the video after reading the books so that you can answer these questions. The critical reflective questions for the certainty illusion are: how did this book challenge your view of food and food marketing practices? And what did you learn about academia? How might this impact your ability to find and understand evidence-based nutrition information? The critical reflective questions for queering nutrition and dietetics are: what did you learn about the LGBTQ+ community and the diversity within this group? What different views of health, bodies, and food were new to you from these readings? What barriers exist for LGBTQ+ people in achieving health in today's healthcare system? How could these barriers be reduced or removed? And how did these readings challenge your idea of what it means to be a dietitian? How does our current dietetic training and practice conflict with some queer views of eating and health? How can you make your practice more queer? The critical reflective questions for a drum in one hand, a sockeye in the other are: what determinants of health did Charlotte Cote describe as being impactful on her Taishak community? Why were these factors impactful? How do the Nuch people engage in sustainable food systems? What practices encourage sustainability, and how do these practices impact the health, physical, emotional, cultural of those who perform them? How did the descriptions of the Nuch people's foodways differ from your own relationship with food? What part of Charlotte Cote's food views stood out to you? What parts did you feel critical of what she was saying, and why do you think you have those contrasting thoughts and opinions? How does colonization, the placement of Indigenous peoples on reserves, and the legacy of residential schools have an impact on Indigenous health and nutrition today? And how does Indigenous food sovereignty relate to social justice? What actions could support and encourage these movements? Those are all my recommendations and competency-related questions for now. I hope you enjoy these books and find this video helpful. Thanks for watching.